What's up, people? Welcome back to Daily Red Devil for all of your latest Manchester United transfer news and talk. I hope everyone is doing well on this Monday morning here in the UK. I'm up bright and early. I'm ready to bring you all the news, and I'm really excited because we've got so much to talk about, guys. Feels like there's so much going on around Manchester United at the moment. So do smash a like on the video, do get involved in the live chat, and let's jump straight into it. So on this morning's show, we're going to be talking about a new bid for Rasmus Højlund. This story came out late last night from a reporter in Italy. We'll jump into that in a minute. We're also going to be talking about a potential swap deal for Jadon Sancho for Harry Kane. I mean, that sounds great, doesn't it? Again, we'll talk about that a little bit later on in the show. We're going to be talking about Harry Maguire. We've got a few updates around him. We're going to be talking about Onana as well today, tomorrow. Hopefully we get to here we go. We have got a bit of clarity on when the deal for Onana looks like it will go through. We are going to also be talking about Fred and McTominay. Got some news on those two about outgoings, which is obviously positive. Welcome to everybody joining in the last few minutes. Hope everyone is doing good. Yes, we've got a really busy show this morning, guys. Really good show to get into. Good way to start the week. I'm feeling positive this week. I'm hoping we get some takeover news this week as well. But either way, we will be having a really positive show today. So yeah, do get involved in the live chat. I will read out some comments a little bit later on into the show. So let's start with some positivity, shall we? Let's start this Monday morning, a new week, with a bit of positivity. That's what we like to do here. We don't want to be negative. We like to try and spread positivity. Let's start off with some positivity, guys. So we had a story coming out from a journalist in Italy last night saying that Manchester United are preparing to submit a new bid to Atalanta for Rasmus Højlund. Rasmus Højlund's agency, which is the same agency as Ten Hag, has already reached an agreement in principle with Manchester United for a contract until 2028. Atalanta apparently asked 60 million euros to sell Rasmus Højlund. So 60 million euros it's about 51 million pounds. So apparently Atalanta want 51 million pounds for Rasmus Højlund, and Manchester United are looking to put in a new bid this week. This is coming out from a journalist in Italy. They've got about 300,000 followers on Twitter. I did a bit of research into them to check if I thought they were reliable, and they seem quite reliable. Obviously, nobody knows for sure, but yeah, it is a journalist in Italy, and they have said that Manchester United will submit a new bid of 60 million euros this week, which is around 52 million pounds. United will reportedly launch a new bid to sign Rasmus Højlund this week. It is suggested that Manchester United have already an agreement in place over the player's personal terms. As we spoke yesterday, there was a story coming out that apparently Rasmus Højlund would even be willing to hand in a transfer request. So if a deal can't be done between Manchester United and Atalanta, but Rasmus Højlund then would hand in a transfer request. He really wants to move. As I said, reportedly personal terms have already been agreed between Manchester United and Rasmus Højlund. Fabrizio Romano even said that they were agreed in May 2023. So personal terms have been agreed for around 2 months, guys. I mean, that's crazy, isn't it? He really wants to move, guys. So I do think that this one will happen. As I just said, this journalist, I guess it is breaking news. I mean, we haven't spoke about it on the channel yet. It's a guy called Nicola Sciarra. He's got about 300,000 followers on Twitter. He is what do you call it? He's an Italian journalist, and he is saying that Manchester United will submit a new bid this week of 60 million euros, and that is apparently how much Atalanta want. So in theory, this deal should happen. Atalanta wants 60 million. Obviously, there is a lot of story saying that that Mason Greenwood's going to go to Atalanta on loan. Yeah, so I do think this one will happen. We were hearing that Mason was obviously going to go to Atalanta, didn't we, as part of the deal on loan. So a bit like Onana, I think this one is a matter of when, not if, because as soon as you get a story saying that a player is willing to hand in a transfer request, I mean, that kind of says it all. You know what happened with Anthony. Ajax didn't want to sell. Next thing you know, he hands in a transfer request. He does an interview with Fabrizio Romano, and he's a Manchester United player. So obviously, I prefer it if players don't do that. But I do think that we'll get this deal over the line, guys. So anybody just joining, reports out of Italy are saying that Manchester United will submit a new bid. They're preparing a new bid to submit to Atalanta for Rasmus Højlund. Atalanta wants 60 million euros, which is about 51 million pounds for the striker. And apparently Manchester United have already agreed personal terms with Rasmus Højlund until 2028. So a 5-year deal, probably with an option of one extra year. Yeah, obviously we're focusing on the Onana deal at the moment, but we do know that Erik ten Hag wants to take both Rasmus Højlund and Onana on the pre-season tour, which starts in about 10 days, I believe, in America. So yeah, let's keep an eye on that one. As soon as we get more news on that, we will, of course, go live. I'm just going to get up some quotes from Fabrizio Romano on Rasmus as well, because Fabrizio has also been talking about Rasmus Højlund. It's not just people in Italy. So let's have a look at what Fabrizio said. So Fabrizio Romano yesterday said, breaking, Manchester United have agreed personal terms with Fabrizio Romano. Manchester United have agreed personal terms with Rasmus Højlund. Fabrizio Romano even goes on to say that apparently they've been agreed since May this year. So personal terms have been in place for about 2 months between the two players. So yeah, I do think this one will happen. I think we've just got to be patient. We'll wait until, this new bid goes in. But from what this report says, Atalanta want 60 million euros, which is about 50 million pounds. I think Manchester United will pay that. And obviously if we can send Mason Greenwood the other way, then it just sweetens the deal for them, doesn't it? They lose a striker, but then they get a striker. So it is a win-win for everybody. Mason goes there. We've got a good relationship with Atalanta. Obviously, we bought Amad Diallo from there. We've got a good relationship with that club. I think it's a good move for Mason Greenwood. And I think it's a great move to get Rasmus Højlund to Manchester United. I really, really do. I'm very, very excited about Rasmus. Do smash a like on the video, guys, if you haven't already. Let's try and hit our target really early on in this stream. Let's see if we can do it. And if you are new, please do subscribe. Right, let's move on to the next story. This one is surrounding Jadon Sancho and Harry Kane. Now, this one did surprise me a bit. It's coming out from The Independent, who are a newspaper in England. I wouldn't say they're tier one, but they're a decent newspaper in England. Yeah, so it's coming from The Independent. It's on their website and it was in the printed newspaper. So let's get into this one. The headline is, ultimately, I'll read it all out for you in a minute, but ultimately, Tottenham want Jadon Sancho. Okay, we've spoke about this quite a few times on the channel. Multiple different people have said that Tottenham Hotspur want to sign Jadon Sancho. Okay, they haven't put in an official bid, but they have inquired to Manchester United. They've, tested the waters, if you like. They've said, is Jadon for sale? Are you going to want to sell him, etc., etc. So there has been contact reportedly between Manchester United and Tottenham for Jadon Sancho. Now, this report says Manchester United are considering offering Jadon Sancho to Tottenham Hotspurs in a swap deal for Harry Kane. Obviously, as we spoke about last night, Bayern Munich just put in a bid of 80 million euros it was yesterday for Harry Kane, which is around 68 million pounds. That's the second time that Bayern Munich have put in a bid, okay? So Bayern Munich yesterday offered 68 million pounds for Harry Kane. Tottenham obviously rejected the first bid, which was 70 million, etc., etc. But I mean, 68 million pounds for Harry Kane, that's a bargain. So right, let's read out the actual quote for you guys so we can all deep dive into this. So it says, it is understood that Sancho is a possibility as a sale to Tottenham Hotspur. United would ideally see him as a makeweight in any move for Harry Kane, but the England's record goal scorer remains uncertain and is widely seen as one of those that could unlock the rest of the transfer market. Harry Kane's preference would be to go to Old Trafford. It is currently seen highly unlikely due to the difficulty of negotiating with Daniel Levy. But ultimately, the headline that they're coming with, guys, is that Tottenham want Jadon Sancho, Manchester United want Harry Kane. Is a swap deal here possible? I think it could be. I do. I know swap deals are quite rare in football. They don't happen that often, but I think something like this, especially when Bayern Munich are knocking at the door and putting in bids, surely this should wake Manchester United up a bit and think, well, somebody else is putting in bids for Harry Kane, right? I just can't see him going to Bayern Munich. I can't. I don't think that's a good move for Harry Kane. I really don't. I think he should stay in the Premier League. I think he should break the goal scoring record. If Tottenham want 100 million pounds for him, you give them 50 million in Jadon Sancho. I mean, that's a great deal for them. They can go out and buy another striker for 50 million. They could go out and probably buy a Gonzalo Ramos. They could probably go and buy a Vlahovic or somebody like that. I do have some concerns, though. I do want to, look at both sides of the coin here. In theory, it seems like a great deal. Jadon Sancho's out of form. He's really struggling. We need a striker. But as I keep saying to you guys, please remember, Jadon Sancho is 23 years old. That is crazy. 23, right? He's nowhere near the prime of his career. I think the prime of most people's career is what, like 26 to 30? So in theory, he's about 2 or 3 years away from when he should be hitting his peak. It would absolutely kill me if he went to Tottenham and he did really, really well. Like, that would honestly kill me inside, guys, because I love Jadon Sancho. I think he's a quality player. If he was 26, 27, I'd say, yeah, let's maybe part ways with him. But he's very, very young. And Harry Kane's 30, right? Imagine Harry Kane starts dropping in form 3 years after we sign him. And then Tottenham Hotspur have this 26-year-old Jadon Sancho who's absolutely tearing it up. And we're kind of like, all right, well, that was great for 3 seasons, but now we haven't got Sancho and they do. You know, it is a bit of a risk. But that is the story that's coming out today from The Independent, that Manchester United are considering a swap deal, Jadon Sancho plus cash for Harry Kane. In theory, it sounds like a good deal. I like Harry Kane. We need a new striker. We need someone who scores goals. It was reported last week that Manchester United want 2 strikers. So it's not just going to be Rasmus Højlund. Ten Hag wants 2 strikers this window. Obviously, if you had Harry Kane and Rasmus Højlund, that's an elite. That's elite, that is. Honestly, that is so elite. When you think of last year, what we've had people like Falcao, Cavani, Igalo, Weghorst. You go from that to Rasmus Højlund and Harry Kane. That is, honestly, I'm telling you now, guys, I don't want to be dramatic, but if we had Harry Kane and Rasmus Højlund, I honestly would say that we should be at least trying to get second in the Premier League, you know, with those two. Because we've never really had a striker. We had Ronaldo, but that didn't really work. We've had Weghorst, obviously, let's not even bother talking about him. There is another little bit of a side part to this story. It's been reported for quite some time that Tottenham are interested in Harry Maguire. It's gone quite quiet at the moment, but, I mean, could you do some absolutely mad deal here where you give Harry Maguire plus Jadon Sancho plus cash to Tottenham? I mean, would you guys do that? I don't know. It's difficult, isn't it? I'd be obviously way more upset about Harry Maguire. So, no, I would not be upset about Harry Maguire leaving. I'd be way more upset about Jadon Sancho leaving than Harry Maguire. If we could send Harry Maguire to Tottenham plus cash for Harry Kane, that would be, honestly, that would be the best bit of business I've ever seen. If we got Harry Kane and they took Harry Maguire, that would be incredible. Whereas I am a bit unsure about letting Jadon Sancho go. As I've said to you on a video yesterday, if it was up to me, if I was the director of football, I would loan him out for 1 season. I'd loan him out to Dortmund. He's still got, I think, 3 years left on his contract, or maybe 4. So there's no risk of him, you know, going as a free agent. He's contracted until... he's contracted till 2027 with the option of an extra year. So he's got 4 or 5 years left on his contract, Jadon Sancho, guys. But yeah, I would send Harry Maguire there, definitely. But yeah, Jadon Sancho, I'm a little bit unsure about. Obviously, the wage thing could help us. Jadon's on 350 grand a week. But if you flip that argument on its head, if Harry Kane came to Manchester United, he'd want 350 grand a week. So you're not really saving any money there. The money that you'd save on Jadon Sancho, you just end up giving to Harry Kane anyway. So I'm not sure about that one. I thought I'd bring it into the show because I thought it was a really, really interesting story. Do let me know in the live chat and do let me know in the comment section how you feel about this one. Reported from The Independent that Manchester United are still interested in Harry Kane, and because Tottenham want Jadon Sancho, they're thinking of a potential swap deal. That could happen, but maybe is still unlikely, you know? Obviously, Bayern Munich are leading the race at the moment. They've put in 2 bids. They really, really want them. The reports coming out are saying that Harry Kane is happy to move to Bayern, but he would prefer to move to Old Trafford. He'd prefer to stay in the Premier League. He'd prefer to break the all-time goal-scoring record of Alan Shearer. So we'll have to keep an eye on that one. As I said, I wouldn't be against it. I would like to see Harry Kane in a Manchester United shirt. I think he's a quality player. I think he's an elite striker. If we could send both of them there, Maguire and Sancho, and maybe like 10 million, I think that would be great business. But Sancho on his own, plus loads of money, I'm a little bit unsure about that because I do think Sancho's going to come good, guys. I've not given up hope on Jadon Sancho. He hasn't had a great couple of seasons, but as I keep saying, he's still so young. He's 23. If he was 28, 29, I'd say get rid of him. He's still so young. Like, we need to make Jadon Sancho work. So I think a loan for Sancho would be good. I personally probably wouldn't do this deal as much as I like Harry Kane, but let me know in the live chat what you think about this one. Right, somebody says I prefer Amad Diallo over Sancho. I'm not going to lie to you, at this current moment I would agree with you, because I think Amad Diallo has proven that he wants it that much. You know, he went to Sunderland, he did really, really well. I think he deserves a chance. Whereas I think with Jadon Sancho, he's had 2 years. It hasn't really worked. So I do think that the best option for Jadon would be a loan move for 1 season, maybe to Dortmund, get them to pay half of his wages, and then just hope that he kind of finds his love for football again, because he does really seem like he's struggling at the moment. And I just think he's really going to struggle to get into the team at the moment. Antony's going to have to play every game. Antony was bought by Ten Hag for a ridiculous amount of money. Antony needs to form the player that we paid that amount of money for. Antony can't sit on the bench. He can't. Because otherwise everyone's going to say Ten Hag spent £100 million on a player, he's a flop, he sits on the bench. At the end of the day, Sancho wasn't a Ten Hag signing, so it's not really up to him to make it work. I mean, it obviously is, but you know what I mean, innit? Like, he needs to make Antony work more than he needs to make Jadon Sancho work. But anyway, let me know in the live chat and let me know in the comments how you feel about that one. And everyone, please do smash a like on the video. Let's try and hit our target early on today. And yeah, please do subscribe if you're new. We go live at 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. UK time every single day. And if there's ever any breaking news throughout the day, we will, of course, go live. I've just put a link in the live chat to subscribe. So if you aren't subscribed, please do subscribe. And if you want to do super chats, if you want to gift memberships, if you want to do any of that good stuff, you just hit the $sign. Yeah, everyone is welcome in this community. Right, let's move on to the next topic of discussion then, shall we, guys? Okay, so we got some news on Fred. More news on Fred is coming out. We've got a couple of stories about Fred that we wanted to bring to you, actually. So Fabrizio Romano last night reported that Fulham will bid for Fred, having apparently made an initial approach already, and Saudi Arabia clubs are also exploring the option. So as it stands, guys, Fulham are set to put in a bid for Fred. That's great. I think that'll be a good move for him. But clubs in Saudi Arabia are also circling Fred. I mean, that could be great. I think to Fulham, you'd get 20 million. I think to Saudi Arabia, you could get 30, 40 million. So let's just hope one of these Saudi Arabian clubs come in for Fred and offer us 30, 40 million, because that will just clear the way for Amrabat, which we will talk about in a minute. So anybody wondering about Fred, Fabrizio Romano late last night reporting that Fulham will come in again. So he's implying that they've already spoken. So he says Fulham will bid again for Fred, having made a first approach, and Saudi Arabian clubs have also explored this possible option. So Fred looks like he's going to go. On a side note, he's just got a new agent. You usually get a new agent when you want to find a new club. He goes on to say Fred has just changed agents, with United now open to sell him this summer. United are prepared to sell the 30-year-old, who has been attracting interest from Fulham since May. He is entering the final year of his contract. He's got 1 year left of his contract, guys. We either sell Fred now or he goes for free next season. So this is the moment to sell Fred. Hopefully he gets his move. I don't mind him that much. I don't think he's a bad player, but I don't think he's a good player. He's an average player. He's a squad player. So I think this is the best move for everybody. Fred looks like he will get his move either to Fulham or either to Saudi Arabia, which I do think is good. And we've got another story on outgoings as well. So this is about Scott McTominay, who's gone a bit quiet. No one really seems to be talking about Scott leaving the club at the moment. So the Independent, again, are reporting that West Ham and Newcastle United have been monitoring Scott McTominay, depending on movements with both. Arsenal are expected to hold a medical with Declan Rice in the next 48 hours, which will likely see West Ham accelerate plans to replace the England midfielder. So, as I said to you guys weeks ago, I do think that West Ham will come in for Scott McTominay. David Moyes is a massive fan of Scott McTominay. He really, really likes the player. And what we're being led to believe is that as soon as the Declan Rice deals goes through, as soon as West Ham get the money from the Declan Rice sale, they will look to go in for Scott McTominay. And I think Scott McTominay would be a good replacement for Declan Rice. I'm not saying he's as good as Declan Rice, but I think he would do a good job for West Ham. So I hope that Scott McTominay gets his move. I hope that Fred gets his move. I wish them both all the best. I've got no hatred towards either of them. Yeah, I think both of those moves would be good for them. Fred to Fulham, Scott McTominay to West Ham. I can picture them in those shirts now. They'll probably do really well for them because the expectations are completely different at clubs like that. West Ham nearly got relegated last season. Fulham only got promoted, was it last season or the season before? Like, they are bottom half table teams, aren't they? Whereas Manchester United, we expect top four at a minimum. We want to be challenging for titles, winning Champions Leagues. Like, we're never going to do that with Fred and McTominay in our team, let's be honest. So I think it's a good move for both of them. And I think if we can get these deals over the line, I think that's very, very positive. So let's try and stay positive on that one. I do think that McTominay will most likely go to West Ham. All right, we've got an interesting take in the comments here. I'm going to read this one out. Do get your live chats in if you haven't already. And do smash a like on the video quickly, guys. Let's try and hit our target. Sam says, Antony is a flop compared to his price tag. Well, I want to add something to that immediately. I'm gonna put that back to the chat. So Sam in the comments has said that Antony is a flop compared to his price tag. How does everybody feel about that? Let me know in the live chat. Do you think Antony is a flop? And let me know in the comment section. I'm going to quickly give my input on that. What you've got to remember is Manchester United even openly admitted this. The amount of money that they paid for Antony, they said that the fee they paid was based on what they think he'll be worth in the future. Okay? So even Manchester United openly admitted that the fee they paid for him now isn't what he's worth now. They're paying for the potential. They're paying for what they see in him in 2, 3, 4 years' time. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, Manchester United actually publicly put that statement out that, yes, the fee they paid for him was high, but they're paying what the value that they think he'll be worth in a few years. So I don't really agree with that he's a flop, because Manchester United have openly admitted that. And he hasn't been here long enough to be able to judge whether the amount we paid for him is worth it. Put it this way, imagine if he starts banging in 20 goals and 10 assists a season. He'll definitely be worth the £80 million price tag. At the moment, he's not worth that, but you've got to give him time to be able to actually review whether he's worth that. I mean, how old is Antony? Is he 22? He's young, isn't he? Right, Antony is... Yeah, guys, Antony's 23 years of age. He's the same age as Sancho. I think when he's 26, 27, we can really then decide whether he's, been a good signing. But at the moment, Antony's still young, the same as Sancho. I think it's so easy to ridicule players and say they're flops, they're rubbish, get them out of my club. But these are 23-year-olds. They're so young, They're not even anywhere near their prime. And it's up to Ten Hag and it's up to the coaching staff to help them reach their potential. So I don't think it's fair to call Antony a flop at this point. But obviously, you're entitled to your opinion. I think we paid too much money for him. But as I just said, Manchester United openly admitted that the price they paid for Antony was based on what they think he'll be worth in the next few years, not what they thought he was worth now, because ultimately Ajax weren't willing to sell him. So we had to pay an overinflated price because otherwise we wouldn't have got the player. So let's just hope that he does get better. I do think he had a good season last year. I really, really did. He works hard. He tracks back. He would die for the badge. He gives his all, 110%, He's got that amazing left foot of his. He's good at taking people on. I do like him. I think he's a good player. I do. And I think this season, I think we'll see the best of him. As somebody said in the chat, Grealish, £100 million. I'm pretty sure Antony or Sancho both got more goals and assists this season in the Premier League than Grealish. And people are saying that Grealish is one of the best players in the Premier League and all this stuff. So just remember that when rival fans try and banter you, that Antony's stats for the Premier League this season were pretty much the same as what Grealish's was. So, when you look at it like that, does that mean Grealish is a flop? I don't think so. Yeah, I mean, he got 6 goals and assists in 25 matches, Antony. I mean, it's not great, is it? But what did Grealish get? Give me 1 second, guys. I think this is quite an important comparison. I'm pretty sure it was Sancho who got more goals and assists than Grealish this season. And Sancho didn't even play for 3 months. He was off, wasn't he? And he was off having some time away. Yeah, I mean, Grealish got 12 goals and assists. Antony got 6. Jadon Sancho got... Let me have a quick look for you guys. Sorry about this. I'm just checking because I do think it's important when we're talking about whether a player's a flop or not. I do think it's important to have a good comparison before we start making kind of judgments on people, because people hail Jack Grealish as this almighty, amazing player. Yeah, so Jadon Sancho got 9 goals and assists and Jack Grealish got 12. And people in our club are like, get Sancho out of my club, he's a flop, he's rubbish. Whereas Manchester City fans and other rival fans think Jack Grealish is this amazing player, don't they? But yeah, at the end of the day, guys, I do think that Sancho does need a loan move. And I do think... I do think that Antony will, eventually be worth what we paid for him. We've just got to be patient. We are paying for the potential. We openly admitted that. So yeah, it's not going to happen overnight, guys. It's not. But yeah, let's see how we're doing. See who's in the chat today. Okay, so Al says Grealish does the job that Pep wants. Antony is a disappointment. You can't compare. I personally, I don't think Antony's a disappointment. Let me know in the live chat and in the comments, guys. I don't think Antony is a disappointment. He excites me when he plays. He gets me off my feet. He's much better than any right winger we've had in recent years. He tracks back. He's good at defending. He gives 110% every day. You can see he has passion for the club and passion for playing for Ten Hag. I think Antony's a good player. He's been here for 1 season. I don't think it's fair to say he's a flop at this point. I don't. I really, really don't. And I think like we need to be better than that. I'm not telling you what you should or shouldn't do, but this is just my opinion. I think we need to be better than that because rival fans are the ones who come and say he's a flop. We need to say, if you actually watch Manchester United, he is good. He does do a good job. Yes, he doesn't score 20 goals and get 20 assists, but he does do a good job for the team. And it is a team game, guys. Remember, how many goals did we even score in the Premier League last season? Like, we didn't score many. We did not score many goals last season, guys. We really didn't. They just need to learn to cross the ball. They do. That's the problem with Manchester United. We only scored 54 goals in the Premier League last season. 54. It's like only about a goal and a half a game. It's really not very good. But at the end of the day, guys, Erik ten Hag wanted him. He's 23 years of age. He's going to get better. I get the price tag is a lot of money, but as I keep saying to you, Manchester United have openly admitted that the price they paid for him was based on what they think he'll be worth in the future. I know that doesn't make sense, but that was the only way that we could get him from Ajax. If Richard Arnold, John Murta and Richard Arnold had bought him at the beginning of the window, we would have probably got him for half that price. I'm almost certain of that. They fumbled around until we lost 2 or 3 games, until we were, in a really bad position. They waited and then they bought him. So yeah, that's my take on it. I think we've got to give him time. He's had 1 year. Obviously the price was too much, but that's not his fault. That's not Ten Hag's fault. That's John Murta and Richard Arnold's fault. They should have got that deal done a lot earlier in the window, and we would have got him for half the price we did. Right, let's move on to the next story. We've talked about Rasmus Højlund for anybody joining late. Sources coming from Italy are saying that Manchester United are preparing a new bid to sign Rasmus Højlund. He has already reached an agreement in personal terms until 2028. Atalanta allegedly want 60 million euros, which is about 52 million pounds. So hopefully we see this bid for Rasmus Højlund go in this week. That'll be amazing. Let's try and get that one over the line. Let's try and get him on that pre-season tour plane to America, which kicks off next week. As well, guys, I just want to remind you all, we will be doing a watch-along for the Leeds game this Wednesday. I think it's about 3:30 UK time kickoff, so we will be doing a watch-along for the Leeds game, the first pre-season game. It will probably be the first time we've seen Mason Mount in a Manchester United shirt, so of course, we will be watching that together. Yeah, there's a little bit more on the Fred story here, which I wanted to bring in really quickly. So the story is that a Saudi delegation is in Manchester negotiating to sign Fred. So I think Fred is going to move quickly, guys. Fabrizio's already said that Fulham are going to put in another bid for him, and he also said that Saudi Arabian clubs are also interested. There's another story coming out just now saying that a Saudi Arabian club are in Manchester supposedly negotiating for Fred. So I do think that Fred will be the first player out the door, and I do just hope that opens the way for Amrabat to join Manchester United, because Amrabat at Manchester United is absolutely essential for me. It really, really is. We need to get Amrabat in a Manchester United shirt. Right, let's have a read of a few comments quickly. Do smash a like on the video, guys, if you haven't already. We've got over 450 people watching at the moment, which is absolutely incredible. So do like the video and do subscribe to the channel if you are new. Doesn't cost any money and really, really helps. Let's read a few more comments. Yeah, I mean, as Fred says, Antony plays because Erik ten Hag brought him in and rates him. And I think it is important that Erik ten Hag brings in players he trusts, brings in players that he knows are going to work for him, players that will die for him on the pitch, will give 120% for him and for the badge. And Antony is one of those players. You've seen how passionate he is. You've seen how, aggressive he is when he plays. And I like that. He clearly does care. He does care. But yeah, we'll leave the Antony one for now. But if anybody has any other input they want to give on Antony, please do let me know in the chat. I do think that he will get better. Somebody's asking about how much I think we'll get for Fred. I mean, the story that was coming out originally was saying that we'd get around 15 to 20 million from Fulham. But I do think that if a Saudi Arabian club come in, I reckon we could get more than 15 to 20. Maybe 20 to 30, I'd say. Because obviously the Saudi Arabian clubs are having to pay more money because, let's be honest, at the moment, they maybe are less desirable. Like Fred probably would prefer a move to Fulham, probably. Whereas, the Saudi Arabian clubs are giving out crazy wages. They're paying massive fees. I think they paid, was it 40 million? They bought somebody from Celtic, didn't they? For quite a lot of money. I think it was about 30 million pounds. And they've just bought Brozovic, I believe, haven't they? Yeah, they just bought Brozovic for about 20 million euros. I mean, Brozovic is 30. Yeah, I reckon probably 20 to 30 million pounds is realistic for Fred, guys. But do let me know in the live chat, how much do you think we can get for Fred? As I just said, Fabrizio is reporting that Fulham are about to put in a bid and Saudi Arabian clubs are also interested. Another report saying that a certain Saudi Arabian club are in Manchester for talks over Fred. So let's keep an eye on that one. As soon as we get a confirmed bid for Fred, of course, we will go live so we can talk about that a bit more. Let's read a few more comments quickly. All right, someone's got a question here. Give me 1 second, guys. Somebody's saying 30 million for Fred with a laughing face. Yeah, I think if it's to Fulham, guys, it'll be 15 to 20. I think if it's to Saudi Arabia, it'll be anything from 20 to 30, probably 20. So right, here we go. We've got a question here. Let me read this one out quickly. Someone says, with Dalot having recently renewed his contract, do you think he should take the responsibility of playing as an inverted fullback like the other top fullbacks? Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, guys, again with Dalot, he's very, very young. You have to remember that. That's what I like about the people that we have at Manchester United. Dalot is only 24. Again, he's not even in his prime yet. I think he's a good player. I'm not convinced whether he's going to be I don't think he's going to be world class personally. I'm not trying to be negative. I'm just giving my opinion. Let me know what you think about Dalot. Do you think he can be world class, or do you think that maybe he is just a kind of squad player? I'm not sure if he's world class personally for me. I don't think he is. He's got some good elements to his game, but I'm not 100% convinced by him. But let me know what you think about Diogo Dalot. I think Diogo Dalot and Wan-Bissaka together are good. We have solid options, but if one of them left, then I would be quite up for bringing in someone slightly better. I'm not exactly sure. I know we've been linked to Frimpong, but I'm not too sure about Frimpong, to be completely honest with you. He's quite short. He isn't very good defensively. He's more of a winger, so I don't really know who we'd bring in instead. The thing I do like about Dalot, though, is he can play at left back as well, so he does give us quite a lot of options. He can do left back, right back. Somebody says, why can't we put the asking price on the players we're selling instead of waiting for offers? Well, I'm sure they have put an asking price on it. I think for a Premier League club, it'll be 15 to 20, I think. But we'll have to wait and see. Yeah, at the end of the day, someone's saying in the chat, Fulham will have Fred, Andres Pereira, and Willian. Somebody says, Sam says, we need a better right back to challenge for the league. Dalot is a liability in defence. Yeah, I do agree with you. Wan-Bissaka is an elite right back, defensive-wise. I honestly would go and say that one-on-one, Wan-Bissaka is one of, if not the best defender in the right back position in the world. If somebody's running at Wan-Bissaka, you're 99% sure that they're not going to get past him. But I do think with Wan-Bissaka, his attacking game has improved. He has got a lot better attackingly. So I like Wan-Bissaka. I would definitely keep him at the club. I would not sell him. And as somebody said in the chat, Diogo Dalot has signed a new contract or is on the brink of signing a new contract with Manchester United. Guys, Wan-Bissaka's only 25 years of age as well. Yeah, I think he's good. I would keep both of them. I wouldn't sell him, and I'd be really, really upset if we sold Wan-Bissaka. I think he had such a good second half of the season. He did so well. Everybody had written him off. Everybody had said, oh, get rid of Wan-Bissaka. He's not good enough. Sell him. It looked like he was going to go back to Crystal Palace for 5 or 10 million. So yeah, I think Wan-Bissaka has proved his worth, and I definitely think that we should keep him at Manchester United. Right, let's read out the next bit of news that we've got. So we've got some news on Harry Maguire, guys. Harry Maguire, we've got some news. We did actually have Harry Maguire in the chat yesterday, believe it or not, guys. No lie. Harry Maguire was in the chat yesterday, and he was begging that we didn't sell him. Go back and watch yesterday's stream if you don't believe me. Harry Maguire was here. I can't confirm if it was the proper Harry Maguire, but there was someone called Harry Maguire. Anyway, let's move on. So there's a story coming out from, I think it was from Fabrizio Romano on his Here We Go podcast. And he says that Maguire still, right, brace yourselves for this, guys. I've tried to be positive all through this stream. So this was on Fabrizio Romano's Here We Go podcast, I believe. And this says, Maguire still wants to fight for his place at Manchester United and he has not given up. He's waiting to speak with Erik ten Hag about his future. So apparently Maguire still wants to fight for his place. I mean, why does he not just read the room? He's being removed as the captain. Erik ten Hag clearly doesn't like him. Why does he want to fight for his place? Like, what does he mean by that? Is he gonna, like, I don't get it. And the story goes on to say that Harry Maguire has been training 3 times a day for 3 weeks. He has been spending time training one-on-one with Ricardo Carvalho. Harry Maguire wants to fight for his place and not give up on Manchester United. I mean, like, why can't he just read the room? Why? He's been training 3 times a day, apparently, with Ricardo Carvalho, who is obviously, a Portuguese former centre-back. So he's been training whilst he's on holiday with Ricardo Carvalho 3 times a day. I mean, fair play to him. He's given it a go, but why does he not read the room? Why does he not just understand that we don't want him at Manchester United anymore? I wish him all the best. I hope he goes to a West Ham and Everton, and I hope he does really well. But it's just frustrating, isn't it? It's just like we're just going round in circles with Harry Maguire. Yeah, someone says, is it Phil Jones part 2? Anybody just joining on Fabrizio's Here We Go podcast, he's saying that that Harry Maguire apparently wants to fight for his place at Manchester United and has been training 3 times a day whilst he's on holiday. He's been training with Ricardo Carvalho, who's obviously a legendary centre-back. He used to play for Real Madrid. 3 times a day he's been training. He's waiting to speak with Erik ten Hag about his future. And he still wants to fight for his place at Manchester United. This is about Harry Maguire. I mean, at the end of the day, guys, hats off to him. Like I can't slag him off for that. I can't. He's training 3 times a day on his holiday with Ricardo Carvalho, and I'm sure he's paying Ricardo Carvalho. He's not doing it as a favour to him. But yeah, I mean, why does he not just read the room? Like, I feel sorry for the guy. He wants to be at the club so badly, but he's just not part of our plans. He's really, really not. Maguire is not giving up exactly. He's being stripped of the captaincy, which is... That is rubbing salt in the wounds for the guy, isn't it? You're being stripped of the captaincy. He's going to be told he can sit on the bench, but yet he still doesn't want to give up. I mean, what does he think is going to happen? Because even if Martinez or Varane get injured, Lindelof's going to play. If Lindelof gets injured, then Luke Shaw's going to play there. So he's literally the 5th choice centre-back. Like, it's just frustrating. Is he maybe trying to change his attitude to win over the fans? Because ever since he said that I don't need to prove myself thing, I've just completely lost all respect for him. But then when you hear stuff like this, he's training 3 times a day whilst on holiday, and he's brought in Ricardo Carvalho. Like, hats off to him. You can't slag him off for that. But as Alex says in the chat, I think it is a little bit too little, too late for Harry Maguire. I was excited when he came to the club. I did want him to do well, but I do just think at this point it's the best thing for him to move on. Yeah, I mean, I don't really care about how many times he trains a day. Somebody says, yeah, so this is a great comment. Somebody says, isn't Harry Maguire 5th choice centre-back? He is not in touch with reality. He could lose his England place to Colwell if he gets comfortable being a sub. I mean, I'm almost certain, guys, that if Harry Maguire stays and sits on the bench, he will not be starting for England in the Euros next summer. I mean, that would be an absolute disgrace. I know this isn't an England channel, but that would be an absolute disgrace if Gareth Southgate picks Harry Maguire to start in the Euros next summer if he just sits on the bench again all season. That's an absolute disgrace. It really, really is. So I do just hope, for Harry Maguire's sake, yeah? I'm taking my own personal feelings away from this. I hope for Harry Maguire's sake that he goes to another club, because he isn't a bad player. He isn't. Harry Maguire is a good player, okay? Hear me out here. In a 5-back with 3 centre-backs, Harry Maguire is a good player. He is world class in a 5-back. He is. If you ever watch England play, which some of you might not, he is good for England. He's never put a foot wrong for the English national team, okay? He is a good player. He would work in a 5-back. He works with 3 centre-backs, but he doesn't work in a high line. That's the gist of it. He doesn't work for what Erik ten Hag needs. So he 100% needs to leave the club. He needs to go and revive his career. It's all good and well him training 3 times a day on holiday, but it's not going to make him any faster. It's not, Harry. You're not going to suddenly get faster by training with Ricardo Carvalho. He can't teach you how to be faster. Like, that's not something you can be taught, mate. Like, you just need to go. You need to go to a club who plays different football, and then you'll just stop getting hate because people will say, he works in that system. He does well. This is a really good comment, actually. I want to bring this into the show. I did mention this yesterday. So Kerwin has said, having a goalkeeper like Onana will help Harry Maguire a lot. That is a really good point. And I did talk about this yesterday, but I want to bring it up really, really quickly. Right, hear me this, guys, okay? A lot of the times when Harry Maguire got found out was when we would be on the attack and the opposition would play a ball through the back, and we'd be too far up the pitch and Harry Maguire wouldn't be able to catch the striker, okay? But the other issue there was David De Gea was always glued to his line. David De Gea would never come out and try and be a sweeper keeper or attack the attacker who was in on goal. David De Gea would stay on his line and the people would score 9 times out of 10. But Onana won't do that. As soon as Onana senses that there's a ball coming around the back and that his defender isn't going to get there, he'll be running out full pace and getting to that ball. So maybe Harry Maguire could work. I'm just trying to play devil's advocate here, guys, because someone just brought it up in the chat, and I do think it's a really good point, and it is something that I was talking about yesterday. Onana is a sweeper keeper. As soon as he sees somebody through on goal, he's going to go out there, he's going to attack them, he's going to do everything he can to stop them getting to the goal. Whereas David De Gea didn't do that. David De Gea was glued to his line, he wouldn't move, the people would go one-on-one and they'd score. So I don't think we can just blame I don't think we can just blame Harry Maguire. I don't, because I do think that, as somebody said in the chat, we will see potentially a different game. I still want him to leave, but I'm just trying to be fair, because otherwise people will say, oh, you've got a vendetta against Maguire, you're not being, you know, and that is my genuine belief, guys. So at the end of the day, he's trying hard. He is a good player. He hasn't worked in our system so far. Maybe he'll work in the system with David De Gea, with Onana. But he didn't work in a system with David De Gea, because David De Gea was glued to his line. He would never come out of his box, and it just didn't work. So anyway, let's move on from that. The story is, for anybody just joining, Harry Maguire wants to fight for his place at Manchester United. He is apparently training 3 times a day whilst he's on holiday, and has also brought in Ricardo Carvalho, obviously ex-Real Madrid legend, centre-back, brought him in to help him kind of develop his game. So you've got to give your credit to him, you do. And even if he's just going to move somewhere else, like, hats off to the guy. Yeah, and as somebody said in the chat, I do think that he maybe would be okay with Onana, who's a sweeper keeper. But at the end of the day, I still want him to leave the club. I want him to go. I prefer Luke Shaw there. I prefer Varane. I prefer Martinez. And I prefer Lindelof. So as long as Lindelof stays, I'm happy. I really like Lindelof. I think he has deserved a place in the Manchester United squad. Definitely. He's a good player. Right, let's move on to the next story. We've got an update on Andre Onana, guys. This is coming out from Fabrizio Romano. I know everyone is really, really exciting. You're all asking me, what's going on with Onana? What's going on? Somebody in the chat was saying, I heard the deal's falling through. I heard it's going to, you know, I heard we're not going to get him. There's loads of people worrying about Onana, but let's just bring this one in from Fabrizio really, really quickly, okay? So Fabrizio came out last night saying the following: all parties, so Manchester United and Inter Milan, believe a deal for Onana will be done by Wednesday or Thursday. Erik ten Hag is really pushing. So I think 24, 48 hours, guys, and Onana will be a Manchester United player. We've already agreed personal terms with him on a contract believed to be around £130,000 a week, which I think is incredible. 130 grand a week for Onana, that's amazing. Take in mind that David De Gea was on 375 grand a week. So we bring in Onana, 375 grand a week off the wage bill, and we give him 130. That's great business. Really, really good. And as I said to you guys yesterday, I worked this out really quickly, okay? We sell Dean Henderson to Nottingham Forest, reportedly for 30, and we're going to save 20 million a year in De Gea's wages. So that's 50 million that we'll get, 30 for Dean Henderson, and 20 million that we're not paying De Gea. 50 million. We pay Onana 40, and then I think we're paying him about 6 million in wages. So we're actually going to make money on this deal, guys. We're going to make profit here. I mean, that's incredible. So our budget will actually increase by doing this deal. Like, I know that sounds a bit confusing, but if we sell Dean for 30 to Nottingham Forest and we save 20 on David De Gea's wages, that's 50 million we'll save. We spend 40 million on Onana. That leaves us with 10 million profit, and Onana's wages are 6. So we're actually going to get Onana, and we'll have 4 million more than we did have before. Does that make sense? So Onana's technically free, and we get 4 million extra, if that makes sense. It's a bit confusing. Let me know if that doesn't make sense, and I'll try and wrap my head around it. But what my point is, guys, is by financial fair play, this is a great deal. It really, really is. Somebody asking about the 30 million. Samuel Luckhurst, Manchester Evening News, reported last week that Manchester United are looking to sell, or on the brink of selling, Dean Henderson to Nottingham Forest for 30 million. That was the last figure we heard. And they're ultimately just waiting for this Onana deal to happen. As soon as the Onana deal happens, Dean Henderson will leave the club. That was what was reported by Samuel Luckhurst, Manchester Evening News. So we've got to keep an eye on that one. As soon as we get that story, of course, we will go live with that. But I do think, honestly, guys, as soon as Onana leaves, Dean Henderson will leave the club, because we know that he's not wanted at Manchester United. Manchester United are probably covering their backs at the moment, because at the end of the day, imagine if the Onana deal fell through and we didn't even have a goalkeeper. So they are probably just keeping Dean Henderson at the moment until they have Onana, which makes sense. And I do honestly think that now that David De Gea's contract has been announced as, you know, we're not signing him, I do think the deal will happen. I wonder whether, as a matter of some respect, they said, all right, De Gea, let's announce that you're not going to be here first, and then we'll announce that Onana. Somebody else has just made a really good point as well, actually. Somebody says we'll also be saving on Dean Henderson wages. Yeah, we will. So let's just work this out super quickly, guys. I like stuff like this. I'm sorry if it's boring, but I do like all of this financial stuff. So Dean Henderson is on 5 million a year, right? Bear with me 1 second. Dean Henderson's on 5. David De Gea's on 20. And we're reportedly going to get 30 for Dean Henderson. So that's 55, okay? So we're going to get 55 million for letting David De Gea go, selling Dean Henderson, and obviously removing the wages of both players. We'll make 55 million from that. We then spend 40 million on Onana, which is an amazing piece of business. We have 15 million left in profit, and we're only paying Onana 6 million a year. So we'll actually be 9 million pounds better off in our budget for this summer. I mean, that's amazing, guys. That's so positive. Really, really happy about that. Yeah, really, really positive. Yeah, I mean, people are saying people won't pay 30 for Dean Henderson. That was what was reported by Samuel Luckhurst. You know, don't shoot the messenger. Samuel Luckhurst said that Manchester United were going to get 30. Even if we get 25 for him, we're still going to make some money, so it's a positive. The key thing here is that Dean Henderson leaves the club. That's the key thing. We'll remove his wages, which I said were 5 million a year. We'll get 25, 30 million. Either way, we're in a better position, okay? If we then go and sign this goalkeeper, Suzuki, is it, from Japan for 5 million, we'll have 2 goalkeepers and we'll still be in profit. Welcome everybody who's just joining in the last few minutes. Hope you are all doing well. Please do smash a like on the video, guys. We've got over 500 of you watching this morning. Absolutely amazing. Everybody give yourself a massive pat on the back. It is incredible how fast this community is growing and how respectful everyone is. Honestly, it's so nice. Is somebody asking clearing wages adds to transfer budget? Yes, it does. Guys, so I don't want to bore you because it is a Monday morning, but financial fair play is to do with wages. The reason why Arsenal can spend so much money this summer is because their wage budget is about half of what ours is, right? Arteta, when he came in, he got rid of people like Aubameyang, he got rid of people like David Luiz, he got rid of all of these players on really high wages. So Arteta, hats off to him. He's halved Arsenal's wage bill. Their wage bill is about 100 million a year, whereas ours is about 250. And financial fair play is to do with wages. It's to do with how much your outgoings are, etc., etc. Arsenal can spend about 200 to 300 million this window and still be within financial fair play, whereas we can only spend around 100 because of our inflated wages. So that's the key thing here. Removing David De Gea, removing Dean Henderson, these players who are on really big wages, is really, really going to help us, guys. And even people like Fred, people like McTominay, Maguire, if we can get rid of all of those players, it's going to completely change our transfer window. So I honestly think it's a positive, the business we're doing at the moment in our current budget restraint. And I do think we'll see a lot more moves coming into the club as soon as people start leaving, because the main issue for us is our wage bill. It is, guys. That's what's been reported for months and months and months. Our wage bill is a massive issue at Manchester United. So yeah, this is a positive. We bring in Onana on good wages. You know, at the end of the day, we're giving Onana what we were giving Dean Henderson. Dean Henderson was on about 100 grand a week and he was, you know, didn't even play. So this is a real positive. Somebody's asking about Axel Disasi. Someone's asking about Axel Disasi. We did speak about this yesterday. Manchester United are linked to this Axel Disasi guy from Monaco. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I don't know a hell of a lot about this player. Newcastle are also interested in him. Fabrizio Romano reported that we've been apparently talking to the player side for around 2 weeks. I don't know. I don't think a centre-back is a priority for me, but let me know in the live chat and in the comments section. If you know anything about this Axel Disasi guy from Monaco, I know he's young, he's obviously a centre-back, he's French. Other than that, I've never seen him play, to be completely honest with you, so I'm not going to comment on whether I think he's a good player or not, because that would be unfair. But yes, in relation to somebody asking in the chat, we have been heavily linked to this Axel Disasi guy, but I don't know. I honestly would be happy with Maguire leaving and just having Shaw, Martinez, Varane and Lindelof as our 4 centre-backs next season. But do let me know if you disagree. Let me know how you're feeling about this one. Somebody asking about Amrabat. So we did speak about him yesterday. The story that was coming out from Italy is saying that Manchester United will look to move for Amrabat once they've concluded deals for Rasmus Højlund and Onana. Fiorentina supposedly want around 25 to 30 million pounds. Obviously, we brought you the story earlier via Fabrizio Romano that Fred is about to have an offer from Fulham. So I do think once we sell Fred, I do think we'll go for Amrabat. Obviously, Donny van de Beek looks like he's going to leave. McTominay is interested in West Ham. West Ham want McTominay. So I do think we will go for Amrabat, guys, because I think at least 2 more midfielders will leave this summer. I would say either Fred and McTominay or Fred and Donny van de Beek will leave. So yeah, we've got to be patient with Amrabat. Yeah, as somebody says in the chat, can we really afford a £40 million centre-back Axel Disasi? I don't think so. I don't think it's a priority. I really, really don't, guys. But obviously, let me know in the chat. Let me know if you disagree. I don't think we need another centre-back. Our defence was really, really solid last year. I like Lindelof. I like Luke Shaw as a centre-back as well. I don't think we need this Axel Disasi guy, to be completely honest with you. But we'll have to keep an eye on that one. Yeah. Right, let's see. Let's read out a few chats. What have we got? Everyone, please do smash a like on the video. We're like 10 likes away from our target, so let's see if we can hit that. We've got over 550 people watching today. Absolutely incredible. As always, amazing to speak with you all this morning. We've got about 15 minutes left of the show, so if you do want to do any super chats, if you want to gift any memberships or any of that good stuff, do hit the $sign. Or if you're not in a position to do that, please do subscribe. We go live at 8 a.m. UK time and 6 p.m. UK time every single day. And if there's ever any breaking news throughout the day, we do go live as well. So make sure you hit the notification bell. Doesn't cost any money, really helps the channel, and you're all welcome in this community. So yeah, somebody's asking about Alex Telles in the chat. Alex Telles has gone very, very quiet. I would say that Alex Telles will almost definitely leave this club this summer. Galatasaray are supposedly interested in him. I think Porto were interested in him. I think it will be a very, very small fee for Alex Telles, maybe £5 million. I think Manchester United will just want to get him off our wage bill. But at the moment, guys, there's nothing definitive about Alex Telles or Eric Bailly. I think both of them will leave. They both only have 1 year left on their contract, so they'll both be free agents next summer. The same with Anthony Martial. People keep asking me, Kieran, why isn't Anthony Martial leaving? Why aren't we selling him? Anthony Martial is unsellable, guys. He's got 1 year left on his deal. He's injury prone, and he's on 250 grand a week. Nobody's going to pay any money for Anthony Martial. We've got one more year of him. We've got hope we can make the best out of our current situation. And yeah, he'll leave on a free transfer next summer, Anthony Martial. I'm almost certain about it. He's got 1 year left. Nobody's going to buy him. I'm sorry, guys. Nobody will buy Anthony Martial. And to be completely honest with you, I would rather keep Anthony Martial than loan him out at this point. I don't think it makes any sense. I really don't. So yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on Alex Telles and Eric Bailly. I do think they will move at some point. But as it stands, we don't have any definitive news on those two players to bring to you, unfortunately. As I said, they were linked to Porto. Eric Bailly was linked to Real Betis weeks ago, but nothing seems to have happened there. So I don't know what's going on, to be completely honest with you. I've got something I wanted to bring to you. Right, let me just throw this into the chat. Obviously, we're linked to this Axel Disasi guy from Monaco. How would you feel about keeping Eric Bailly for one more season if it meant not buying this Axel Disasi guy and using that 40 million to spend in another position? Like, I personally wouldn't have an issue with Eric Bailly staying as the, if Maguire left, say, I would be happy for Eric Bailly to take his place on the bench. Like, that would be fine for me. I would be more than happy about that. I would. But let me know in the live chat, if Harry Maguire leaves, do you think we need to sign a new centre-back? Or would you be happy just to keep Eric Bailly instead? Or even just sell Eric Bailly as well and have Shaw, Varane, Martinez and Lindelof? Let me know in the live chat. Let me know what you think. Right, let's have a look how we're doing. All right, we've just hit our target for likes, guys. Absolutely massive shouts out to everybody. We've just hit our like target for the video, so I will end that poll. And I will get another poll going really quickly. Anybody who's new, please do subscribe. I'm going to get a poll going now. Give me 1 second, guys. Let me do, would you swap Sancho plus cash for Harry Kane? Right, we've got a poll here going, guys. Everybody get involved in the poll, and everybody who hasn't subscribed, please subscribe. Okay. So Sam says, honestly, I think Harry Maguire is going to end up staying. I mean, I thought that he was going to leave. I did. But after this story coming out from Fabrizio Romano earlier on today saying that Harry Maguire wants to fight for his place at Manchester United. He's training 3 times a day on holiday. He's brought in Real Madrid legendary centre-back Ricardo Carvalho to train with him. It isn't a good look for us, is it? It's a good look for Harry. Fair play to him. He's trying his best, but he does just need to read the room. He does just need to know he's not the captain anymore. He doesn't need to be at the club. And he should move on. But at the end of the day, guys, sometimes people's egos are bigger than their common sense. He's not going to play. He's probably going to lose his place in the England squad, and he should 100% leave. 100%. Right, let's read out a few more comments quickly. Yeah, do get involved in the poll, guys. So the question is, would you swap Sancho plus cash for Harry Kane? Anybody who's watching this back on repeat, do let me know in the comment section. Would you swap Sancho plus cash for Harry Kane? Let me know your reasons. Let me know why. As I said earlier on today, guys, I think in theory it sounds like a great idea, but I do just fear that Sancho's going to come good, and he's going to be another one of those players like Pogba, you know, who moves away from the club and ends up being world class, and then we're all sat there saying, what have we done? He's only 23. He's still got a lot of years left in him. He's not even in his peak yet, in my opinion. So I would be a bit concerned. But if Harry Kane came in and we won the Premier League, then I probably wouldn't care. But imagine if Harry came in and we got rid of Sancho and then we didn't win anything. That would be devastating. It would only really work for me if Harry Kane came in and we won the Premier League. Then I'd say maybe it was worth it. But otherwise, I don't think it's worth it for me personally. Somebody says Sancho plus Maguire plus Elanga plus McTominay for Harry Kane. I mean, yeah, I don't think so. Anybody joining in the last few minutes, I will recap at the end of the video, or you can always just skip back to the beginning. I don't want to, for all the people who've been here from the beginning, I don't want to repeat ourselves. So we've got over 500 people watching today, guys, which is absolutely incredible. Yeah, so I want to, you know, make sure we keep the show moving, which I hope you guys appreciate. Right. Just a reminder as well, guys, we will be doing the watch along for the Leeds game on Wednesday. It's a 3:30 p.m. kickoff. Obviously, we'll be live for 2 or 3 hours, so we can talk about all sorts of different topics whilst we're watching. It will be, oh, Harry Maguire is in the chat, guys. Harry Maguire is officially in the chat. Smash a like on the video for Harry Maguire being in the chat. Harry, how are you getting on with your training with Ricardo Carvalho? Let us know. Harry Maguire is back in the chat again, guys. Harry, mate, you're supposed to be training 3 times a day. You're not supposed to be training now? Go on, off you go, Harry. Honestly, I love this stuff, guys. I love people who do stuff like this. I mean, if it is actually Harry Maguire, then fair play to you, but guys, Harry Maguire's saying he'll work hard. Everybody say hello to Harry. He's in the chat. Everybody be nice. Harry Maguire's here. Anyway, let's move on. I'm not going to keep talking about Harry Maguire in the chat because some of you probably are like, what the hell is this idiot with no hair talking about? All right, we've got some breaking news about Harry Maguire. Harry, you're in the chat and we've got some breaking news about you literally coming in the last 30 seconds from Samuel Luckhurst, Manchester Evening News. Everyone brace yourselves for this. So here we go. This is about Harry Maguire. Manchester United's valuation of Harry Maguire could prevent him from leaving the club this summer unless there is a compromise on the fee. United understand to value Harry Maguire at £50 million. What? So Manchester United reportedly want £50 million for Harry Maguire. That's coming in literally in the last 30 seconds from Samuel Luckhurst, Manchester Evening News. £50 million. I mean, that is absolutely ridiculous. Nobody's going to pay £50 million for you, Harry. That is crazy. Anybody who just missed that, Samuel Luckhurst, Manchester Evening News, is reporting that Manchester United want £50 million for Harry Maguire this summer. Yeah, I'm not sure about that, guys. I'm really not sure. I mean, it's fitting that Harry Maguire's in the chat and then we get some breaking news about Harry Maguire. Yeah, it's literally a few people are reporting it now. Manchester United value Harry Maguire at £50 million, which they are highly unlikely to get. I mean, well, that's pretty obvious, isn't it? Nobody in their right mind is going to pay £50 million for Harry Maguire. I reckon 30, you'd be lucky. That's crazy. That really, really is. Harry says, I'm not going anywhere. Yeah, £50 million. We're never going to get 50 million for Harry Maguire. So, yeah, that is disappointing. It really, really is. I think 30 tops. Absolute tops. Somebody saying that's Luckhurst's valuation, not the club. You've got to remember, guys, that Samuel Luckhurst is the Manchester United representative for the Manchester Evening News. He literally puts out stories that are being briefed by Manchester United. I'm not saying that they're always reliable. I'm not saying that Manchester United are going to get 50 million, but at least the line they're putting out to the press is that they want 50 million. That doesn't mean they're going to get it. Mason Mount, Chelsea wanted 85 and we paid 55. So when you look at it like that, maybe it's not a bad thing. They're starting high. So if a Tottenham do come in, we say 50, they probably offer 30 and then we sell for 40. You see what I'm saying? So don't be worried about this, guys, because as I just said, Chelsea wanted £85 million for Mason Mount and we paid 55. So Manchester United saying they want 50 pretty much means that a Tottenham would come in and offer 30 and then we'd end up selling him for 40 or somewhere in the middle. So I don't think it's a bad thing that they've done. If they said we wanted 30, right, people would come in offering 10. So it's just a negotiation tactic. Don't be worried. Don't be too worried. There's no way that anybody's going to pay 50 million, and Manchester United know that. So yeah, it's probably just a negotiation tactic at this stage. Right, let's see what else we've got. We've got about 5 minutes left of the show, guys. We will, of course, be back at 6 p.m. UK time, unless we get any breaking news between then and now. We will, of course, go live. We've got a few more bits of news to get through. Do like the video and do subscribe if you are new to the channel and hit the notification bell. Why not? Right, let's have a quick look. Yeah, I mean, that's funny though, isn't it? That Harry Maguire's in the chat and then we get a story coming out that we want £50 million for him. I'm not worried about this, guys. I think it's a negotiation tactic. I really, really do. He goes on to say that, so this is again coming from Samuel Luckhurst. He says, Raphael Varane, Martinez, Lindelof and Shaw are all ahead of Harry Maguire in the central defensive pecking order. So as I said, guys, as we all know, Harry Maguire is 5th choice centre-back after Luke Shaw. Sorry, Harry, mate, but yeah, you're not wanted anymore. You're not. You're not wanted here anymore, Harry. I'm really, really sorry. Yeah, I mean, at least people are confirming what we're all saying. He literally is the 5th choice centre-back. He is. All right, what's going on here? Let me just... There's lots of more stuff coming in now, so let's just read out a few stories really quickly. Obviously, the news starts coming in. All right, so yeah, to confirm, guys, David De Gea's wages has saved us £19.5 million a year. That's how much he was getting paid a year. Wow, £1.57 million per week from 10 departures this summer. Manchester United could save £82 million in wages this summer if they get rid of people like Dean Henderson, Tellez, Bailly, Brandon Williams, Phil Jones. I mean, guys, Phil Jones was on 75 grand a week. So we are doing a good job here. We are getting rid of players, so that is positive. Somebody says, why do you do your show so early in the morning? I don't know. I just quite like doing it this time. I'm a morning person. I like doing it at 8 o'clock. And lots of people seem to enjoy this time. So yeah, I hope it works for everybody. Right, we're going to wrap the show up there, guys. It's been an incredible stream as always today. Please do like the video on the way out. It doesn't cost any money. And please do subscribe if you are new to the channel. We will be live at 6 p.m. UK time this evening. If anything breaks between now and 6 p.m, of course, we're here for you. We will go live. So yeah. Really positive show. Lots and lots has been discussed. If you have only joined in the last few minutes, please do just start from the beginning. And I'll catch you guys at 6 p.m. UK time. If anything breaks between then and now, of course, we'll go live. So do subscribe, do hit the notification bell and hit the like button on your way out. Lots of love to everybody. I hope you have a lovely day wherever you are in the world. I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.